Whoop! What? I'm just waiting for Mangaka to take the call, I guess. Am I live again? Please, chat, say me yes. Oh wait, I should load this chat again.
Can't connect.
Okay, Colin, am I live again?
Well, you have ads running.
Oh God, for God's sake, man. I don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Oh, nice. Oh man, I don't know. Like, maybe some connection IP problems or what the hell. I don't have a clue.
Shit happens. That's what happened.
Yeah, but I have a few people stuck with me. I'm so happy.
No worries. Okay.
I'm so sorry.
All right. Anything else on that note, or?
We were talking about the gameplay still.
Right. Yeah. You made your points on how he had a lot of tools in his kit. However, the one thing that you have to that I consider, I don't say that you have to, when it came to Gangplank's rise to competitive play is first off his true damage passive on his auto attacks. It's a lot of free damage, and then also like just the introduction of his whole barrel kit, and it basically turned him into a split push champion that had poke and range damage, which is fairly insane, and that's what drove him to the state that he's currently in. Now, I agree that you could probably touch up on other parts of his kit, but I mean, you've seen the highlight clip of, I believe it was Pawn with that just disgusting 4,000k damage barrel into like an entire enemy team. It was like 1,000 damage each.
Yeah, I saw it.
The barrel simply ignores way too much armor, which they're actually nerfing in this one, which is something I was going to mention, and then you made your point, was that when they returned some of the damage they were initially taking away from the barrel, they did also take away some.
Colin? The hell? I lost my connect. Guys, am I still streaming? Because I just lost like... What the hell? My Skype is just running insane. Oi! Please tell me at least I'm still live. So I might need to reconnect on Skype with Colin. What the hell is going on today? Like, it's not... I don't know, like, my internet is just trolling me right now. I don't know. Like, my stream... I couldn't connect with Twitch for a second. Like, not for a second, like for a while. So, I don't know. They only removed from GP a little bit of on damage and 10% of armor reduction. And Colin, what the hell is going on today, man?
I don't know, man. You just suddenly dropped out of a Skype call. I'm just like, why ain't you talking? Why ain't you spitting game?
I don't know, man.
The universe is intervening. We can't be together.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I think they're all jelly about our bromance, man.
It's God's fucking plan. No, Jake is DDoSing the stream.
Yeah, Jacob. It's Jacob's fault, right?
Jacob Wolf.
He's jealous that I'm talking here with you and not him.
Wait until he publishes like a scandalous story about you, like just in like accusing you of so many illegal activities.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, there we go. We got it. Anyway, so as your stream was asking, Gangplank was losing some of the free armor penetration on his powder kegs. So that was a nerf that didn't happen at the same time when they initially gutted a lot of the bonus damage from the champion. So I don't know how the total bonus damage is going to play out with it. I still think it's too high. I think like 30% is probably like an acceptable number for free armor penetration. Because, I mean, think of it this way. 40%, that's a free Last Whisper on his powder kegs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's true. I think 40% is still high, but...
Yeah. And also then the last point I was trying to make, and then I realized that we were forever torn apart by the powers of the universe, was that what's going to be interesting with Gangplank is that he's still going to be in a strong state, and he's going to be prioritized as a top lane pick, as a mid lane pick, and maybe even as a flex pick. I'm really interested to see how different teams at the tournament are going to utilize him.
I will call it right now. We will see him 90% of the time in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think that's the best place to put him.
Because of the thing called lane swaps.
Yes, exactly. Top lane just sets him being in a top.
My friend, is it happening again? Oh, for real? Like, is this real life? What the hell is going on?
God damn, Schnitzel.
Colin.
Get your shit together.
Come my TS, please.
Okay, come on, TeamSpeak. Come to TeamSpeak. Okay, we'll patch it up there.
Yeah.
Which TeamSpeak? Oh, you send me the link.
Yeah, I send you the IP.
Oh, that's
What the hell, man? Dude, look at your Skype DMs.
What DMs?
Yeah, because I can send you in Skype. There's a reason why I have to send you there.
Oh my god.
What the hell is happening?
The world, dude, the world. This is some elite DDoSing shit.
I
fucking love it.
Like, it's funny because it's only my Skype, right?
Right? Okay, then the password for the TeamSpeak.
There is no password. Okay, guys, I'm really sorry. I don't know what's happening. Oh man. Okay.
Okay, so set us up in the team.
Okay, can we talk now here?
Yeah, I hear you.
Nice.
Actually, better too, because there's not.
Are you lagging here, or are you fine? You should maybe do your mic settings. Yeah, we're going on TeamSpeak right now. Oh man, this is so weird. Like, I think I have to get a VPN only for Skype actually, because this is a Skype problem.
Yeah, it definitely is. Good.
Talk again.
Are we good?
I think so too, yeah.
Okay, hold on. I get that sensitivity up. Coming through loud and clear.
Yep, you are.
There we go. Alright, so now before TeamSpeak decides to commit to I don't know, absolve itself of having a pretty low-key kind of a name and really obscure, but a really great program. Gangplank in the mid lane it's a great place for him to be. Being in the lane swap scenarios puts him way too far behind on the farm and a delay. And it's like, he's a very expensive champion to build. You're looking at like 3,700 gold items on him with a Trinity. So placing him in that solo lane where it's shorter for him, so he doesn't have to worry so much about overextending in the lane. He's able to focus down on that area more. It lets you put a tank in the top lane to balance out your composition if you need to. And I think he has some favorable matchups, and he's just going to get more gold and more experience faster, and that's going to lead him to have much in terms of his presence in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. So time to move on. Now that we had this long discussion about Gangplank with a lot of breaks, let's move on to the next champion. And actually, it's a champion we didn't talk about in quite a while actually, and it's Jarvan. Because I've seen a region play a lot of Jarvan, even though he was like nerfs to the abyss. But Russia still played a lot of Jarvan. But again, Jarvan wasn't really good because his armor nerfs were actually kind of high. But we are seeing a few buffs on him, actually one, and he's getting 2 base armor more. Do you think that's enough to cover up any kind of?
I can't even address that question seriously. I mean, who was it? I think, oh shit, someone on Twitter did tweet out, and I do agree with this, that the buff to the armor values is actually somewhat substantial, just because by Jarvan having more health in the early game, he's able to make more plays, and having a healthier early game means that he's going to be healthier everything else. He gets pretty much wrecked in the jungle in terms of health right now. So this might be enough to make him more passable through it. It just depends on his appearance in the meta. It depends on, is he going to provide teams with what they need. Yeah. Plenty of hard engage anywhere else. I'm not so sure about the Cataclysm right now. You have to consider that Tristana, Vayne, those are some fairly big ADC picks right now, and they can just play around the Cataclysm. So I don't think we're going to see him just as a result of the overarching meta shape, but it's definitely a nice buff for him, and it's going to improve his play.
Yeah, definitely. But not enough for competitive play, definitely. Yeah. It's not enough. You have to give him at least 5 armor, my friends.
Never enough. No.
It's not enough.
Anyways.
Hi, Lorenzo. So basically, we have now to talk about the champion that actually is meta reliant and relevant. Right. Did you heard about something called purple pixies and hats? Something that has purple hair.
Purple, the color purple. Have you ever tasted purple, my friend?
I did, my friend. I did. I played a lot of purple a long time ago, and I was really good at her. But we're not talking about colors. We're not talking about any kind of trips or anything you might associate with what we were talking right now. We are talking about Lulu, and it's a meta-relevant pick, and she got touched a little bit. Mangaka, take on.
So Riot's direction with this is it's supposed to be, it's targeting 2 different things, which is a little weird. So the issue that Riot has with balancing Lulu is that they've wanted to have her as a support play. However, she's shown real strength since her rebalancing with the huge support rework with the trinket system, as well as some support scaling balance changes. Found success in a solo lane. She provides a lot of movement speed for the team, a lot of heals, and a lot of shields for that team when she has a lot of items. So right now, in Riot's mind, Lulu really exists as this dual pick, as she can be support or she can be a solo lane. So they're targeting her health growth stat by about 8, so she's going to have less free health overall. And they're also going to be allowing Pixie, her passive, to be able to trigger the Stealth Thief item passive once per Lulu's basic attack. So what that means is when Lulu basic attacks you, she'll be able to produce, I believe it would be like 2 triggers of the Spell Thief, so you get more gold, concentrate into 1 trade. However, you have to think of it this way. So support Lulu, down in my head.
Are you talking?
While support Lulu would build a Sightstone and therefore get the extra health out of it, so she wouldn't be as affected by the health growth stat nerf that Lulu is. She's still going to be way less item dependent or more.
Friend, you're cutting off sometimes.
I know. Hold on. Let me move a little closer to the microphone. Let me move it. Is that a little better?
Yeah.
I think it's just the distance between me and the microphone and then how it's interacting with TeamSpeak. But let's try it from here. I got it fairly close now.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that support Lulu isn't going to be affected by this nerf a whole lot to the health because she does build a Sightstone, it is going to make her more vulnerable during the early laning phases in a dual lane, which is always a risky thing to have. So it seems like a very split decision, and Riot wants to push her one way or another, and it doesn't really accomplish either of these things. I don't think we're going to see a rise in support Lulu play, at least like a consistent pull.
escalation of support Lulu play, I still think that she's going to rock it in the solo lane just because she's that good for several team comps.
Oh, of course. Of
Again,
course.
like none of her strengths were touched.
Like
so.
I mean, she didn't get really nerfed. Like the nerf that she got is so slightly that we shouldn't even think about it as a nerf. And
No.
I mean, the utility value she has in our team comp is still way too high to not use her when you need her. And we can talk about actually one composition that is currently high contest in the meta, mostly in the East League of Legends scene, and it's actually the Juggernaut. So I think like this nerf, it's non-existent. Like this change, non-existent. We only might have even more flex picks on her. Maybe some people might pick up even the support Lulu now, so we have like the option. Because we actually can use it really well. Right? So I don't think it's a bad tweak, it's a good tweak. But again, we could see Lulu still on 3 lanes. And it was already an option before. Now it's even more reliable. So we talked already about a champion. My Brazilian followers will know this champion a little bit too good. God. And BRTT already rocking up Europe with this pick. And well, my friends, we're talking about the only one and the numero uno, way more the Kaiser. What do you think about the nerfs, my friend, and the tweaks?
It's so... Mordekaiser is so weird. So my point earlier with the whole support versus solo lane Lulu thing, like it's a similar case with Mordekaiser when it comes to being in a dual lane versus a solo lane, and Riot is caught between this ill fucking conceived idea to try and completely shift what has basically been a construct of a meta for years in League of Legends with this retarded ass dumb as fuck rework. I'm using very strong language right now. I'm sorry. This just fucking is obnoxious on so many levels. But Mordekaiser's is this weird place right now where he's had these years of identity as being a solo lane player, right? It's now trying to force him into a bottom lane scenario, and now they have to try and find ways to balance between the two of them, and you really can't accomplish either of those. So the nerfs here, he's losing some of his armor, but he's gaining some armor growth stat. So this means that he's going to be a little squishier earlier on, but he's going to eventually make up for it as the levels progress. His W can now be cast on himself, so this is supposed to be a buff for his solo laning, his W being... Looked at his kit because I just haven't cared at all enough to. That's the wrong website.
What are you doing?
Looking up his damn kit to understand, to try and have some vestige of knowledge. It's so weird. Like, teams that use Mordekaiser, I mean, I think there's a lot of potential for him as a solo laner, maybe with these buffs, just because he gets the experience if he jungle follows, so long as he last hits the creep. I mean, you know, there could be some really tricky stuff with it, but I think it's so complex and there's so little professional play for teams to really fiddle with it. Bonus movement speed, can reactivate, trigger a secondary effect. Harvest 3 enemies near himself, doing magic damage, healing himself. Okay, so he's got some... I had to look at that damn spell. So ultimately, though, what else do they nerf on him? Damage no longer doubles if the zones overlap. It now costs health. It has increased ability power. Deactivation is also improved. It has reduced healing against minions. Maximum unit strains is now 2 instead of 3. It's a lot of sustained nerfs to Mordekaiser so that maybe he actually can be bullied in marksman lanes, and if he can be bullied in those lanes as a melee champion, then, like, congratulations, right? You've successfully sabotaged your own efforts to put him in a dual lane. If these are strong enough for that to occur. It's so weird to understand Mordekaiser. We haven't seen any professional play with him. I mean, done fairly well in solo queue, but that's solo queue. A lot of shit flies in solo queue. He's so hard to understand.
Like I think the nerfs were needed because we actually needed bigger window to counterplay him, because I was watching with Abaxial, VOD of double lifts Mordekaiser, and as long as you win the lane, you win the game. Basically that. Because you actually have only the first 4 levels to outplay Mordekaiser. Otherwise, he will gonna kick your ass, my friends. And in the bad way. So basically with this nerfs, he's even weaker now early game. Needs a little more time to get stronger. So actually until level 6, you should be able to outplay him. And a lot easier now. So actually the way to win against Mordekaiser would be to win the lane. Or really hurt him badly in lane because he needs to snowball the lane.
Yeah.
So
I've imagined that was his strength just from his design. Because the one thing you have to consider with trying to run Mordekaiser ADC, you're not going to have a range AD carry. So you need to have a huge advantage. Otherwise, your range is going to be the death of you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So now you only have a bigger time frame to outplay him, and this is fairly nice. All right. So let's move on a little bit because we're because of the internet problems we're getting actually a lot longer than we actually wanted on patch notes.
Right. So
Morgana, Dark Biting, nice little tweak.
Nice little buff. You can spam it more, so get more snares for a million years. That's all cool. Skarner's been a very contested pick in the LPL regionals. He was insanely overpowered. He's been nerfed somewhat here. He's losing some of his slow on his E, which is going to be definitely hurtful to him because he's going to be reliant on CC or those slows to get on top of his targets, even with his advanced move, as well as some bug fixes with his passive so that he's not going to be as strong early, but also have a little stronger late game. They're not giving exact numbers. They're just saying they're eyeing out those kinks. I still think Skarner is probably going to be a contested jungle pick, unless there's one analyst who said that like there's a direct counter to him.
And that would be?
He claims Morgana, Black Shield, and stop him, and ultimate if he gets too close. Imagine that's how it works. So.
Okay.
I'd say it'd be worth experimenting with it.
I mean, Morgana blocks a lot of the click CC, so it's actually a fairly good pick in general. So it wouldn't be a shame.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see it. So,
yeah.
Anyways, that's Skarner. We'll still see him. It'll be fun to see in the jungle.
Still, like the passive is still too strong, so
probably, yeah.
No issues with that. Syndra, nothing really. That's exciting.
That's about it.
Yeah, and then a little bug fix on the E, so it works properly.
Tom Kench, who gives a fuck about Tom Kench?
No, really, well, dude, what the fuck? Like the changes are actually really good because it's now smoother to play him, and you can now
normal cast. Damien Pro that uses normal cast.
Like it's still really good because you know that people use like both. So when it's actually important to hit a fucking spell, they will use Neurocast to 100% make that spell hit. So that's really important actually, and that's a really good change. So it's mover and works with the Dever combo really good.
Yeah, but I mean, he still suffers from his issues of getting on top of targets. Like all the issues that hold him back still exist.
Yeah.
So I still think he's going to be a shitter pick.
Twitch got a little nice buff that might motivate people to play him more because it's...
Yeah, well, some people have already been busting him out, and it's been going fairly well.
Yeah,
like,
and
he's gotten damage buffs. He's gotten, I think, some mana cost buffs as well. Like they've been reduced. That happened. Now this buff is kind of okay. Like 4.5 seconds to stealth while you're in combat. Like that's still fairly. That's a huge time. Not as bad as 6 seconds, but it's only like a second and a half less. But what makes it good Twitch is that you shouldn't, if you're good Twitch, your support was protecting you properly, you shouldn't have to use your ambush to try and escape a fight.
Yeah.
Like all the other buffs that could possibly make Twitch a relevant pick have already been implemented, and we're seeing a lot more of Twitch. And I wouldn't be surprised if he became some of a pick at Worlds, if not even just a pocket pick for some players like Imp, who are just insane on Twitch.
Even BRTT is worth mentioning here. So, what I think is interesting, and I think Lamination might even pull it out, Veigar will stack now AP from assists on the Q, because of the Q, which is actually nice.
It's fairly nice, but like that doesn't immediately validate Veigar support. It's a nice little buff.
To be honest, if we see it work, then on Veigar support. You know why? Because like the E is still a good tool. It is not as good as before, of course, but you're getting free AP and free damage from assists. And you're not farm reliant to get any kind of damage. So if someone would bring it out, I think it would be as support. Simply because you're gonna get free damage, and
Yeah, like
you're gonna have
how
some
much like
utility.
do you get from it though? Here, hold on. Like pro games are already very low kill as it is. I think that, you know, maybe Chinese games. Hold on. How much extra AP you get? You get like 1 AP whenever he kills an enemy, 2 against large AP. So I assume that's like, okay, if you level it up, you get 1, 2, 3, 5 AP per kill, so count as assists. I mean, maybe you get like 100 AP out of it in a game, if even that, just because assists are going to be so low on it. Like, you have to have a freaking phenomenal game of like 13 assists. You know, 3 of those going to be like at 1 or 2. You're not going to get a whole lot out of it as a Veigar support.
Still a decent amount that you get on free damage. But my friend, you were talking already on Twitter about a certain pick. You mentioned a thing. So you might want to explain why you think it's a viable and even maybe a good pick coming to the Worlds.
That'll be harder to read just because, again, when we talk about like support meta or the mid lane meta, so looking at Dyra, a couple things that hold her back in the mid lane: mana costs, spells, lack of. Okay, not really lacking of wave clear. It's not really immediate wave clear though. And then as far as support picks goes, I mean, she's got plenty of single target CC. However, she's also super squishy, and she does have her harass. But the way that the harass worked before this patch was a little more sketchy. However, I think that, you know, you could see her in a lane, probably similar to like what we saw in Korea with Lucian Kennen lanes, where you just go for the super aggressive lane that just wants to just punch the other guy's face in and win that way. Her plants are being reworked a bit so that the first change is that they're gonna the plants will reprioritize targets when their primary target is obscured by Fog of War instead of just using fire altogether. Okay, so you're gonna get more damage out of the plants. They're gonna take care of yourself. Meanwhile, this is the one that makes me go, this could actually be like fairly well from a functionality standpoint. Her plants will now target whatever Zyra has most recently attacked, rather than the closest target she has attacked in the past 4 seconds. So, and champions recently attacked will still be prioritized over minions. So what this means is that you can consistently set up your like Q plants or your E plants to attack enemy champion. That's huge in terms of how reliable her harass is. So she could be a much more effective lane bully as a support, or maybe even as a mid lane player. I don't know how she matches up against the other current mid laners though. If we were to see her, I would imagine it would be in that support position, just because she's always done well from it. And this could give her like a very smooth and very aggressive laning phase that has a lot of control over it. So then I think it's a possibility. However, considering what other supports do and how like Braum has a bunch of free damage reduction, Alistar has a bunch of free damage reduction, and reliable hard engage or hard reliable peel, it'll be really hard to see whether or not she's going to come up as a pick. But I mean, if there's a time, I'd say now's the time.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, and now that Ashe is also a very good pick, so
yeah, right. Yeah, it's just, hey, sneaky lemon.
flashbacks on the S3 wards. I mean, Fnatic played it, C9 played it.
You know, Ashe is quite meta right now.
Yeah, I mean, if then it's now the time. All right, so let's move on to the slight changes on the jungle items. We saw a slight Deborah nerf. Won't hurt too much competitive scene because we haven't seen Deborah played a lot in the competitive scene. So I guess
something high is guaranteed to lose now.
Yeah, actually.
He's like the only jungler that's done any Devour shit, basically.
And it made it actually work.
Yeah, I know. Well, he made it work in NA. You can make almost anything work in NA.
Well, that's true. I mean, he played even Amumu, right?
Well, okay, he didn't make that one work. He didn't make that one work.
Damn you, High! The best pick in the world, you don't make it work. I am disappointed. Alright.
Who just wants a friend?
Yeah, he just wants to hug people. It's lovely. Alright, so going into Warrior, slight buff. Won't change too much. It's still a good item. It's still in the same proposal. We're gonna use it as before. It's just a little bit better. Nothing really special talking about here. But Zeke's got nerfed a little bit. Still high priority item. Still very strong item. It's just a little bit weaker now and not too OP as before. Still a good item though. But it is like it lost 5 armor and 3 seconds of the charge up duration, which is actually huge. Yeah. But still, once take effect that the item is still extremely good.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a strong up for support still. They're just reducing how reliable of sustain and survivability it gives. That's basically what they're targeting.
Yeah, and Deadman's Blade is just slightly tweaked because of Lulu bugs, I guess.
Yep, so yeah, Lulu can now correctly play against Deadman's Blade. And then, aside from that, it's just there's a couple of bug fixes that come on in. There's some new instant feedback system, a couple HUD updates, some changes to recall animations and Howling Abyss, and they have a disappearing missiles fix. So a couple of bug patch ups. Nothing too much to see from there.
Yeah.
That's 5.18.
And this beautiful Kalista skin.
Yes, that's going to be glorious. Thresh and Kalista have like one of the highest synergies in bot lane, not because of how their kits interact, but because of how many skins they have in common.
Yeah.
Like first off, their base skins are both like a spooky green color, so you can go with the default. Then you also get the glorious Blood Moon skins for the red Death bot lane, and now they both have championship skins. Like that's just insane synergy.
Yep, that's true. My friends, we have to set up the YouTube thing again, so we can start with our high quality analysis right here. Of Sende versus Gravity.
Oh, here I could probably invite you to the room.
Oh yeah, send me the link in Twitter. Not Twitter. TeamSpeak. Man, I don't know what's happened with my Skype. I have to fairly see, like my internet's extremely inconsistent right now. I'm having like slight.
Right. See, my internet's never been happier. I don't know. Right. Sometimes like it goes up and down. Okay, I'm crazy Australian mist. Perfect. All right, I sent you the link.
Yeah, I'm in there.
All right, diggity and giggity. So, I am owner of the room, and let me go ahead and set this context up for all of you wonderful streamers out there who are watching either my stream or Alex's stream. Thank you all for hanging out, by the way. So the context on this series and why we're looking at these games right now, it's primarily a research thing for me. I'm currently working on a piece on Sneaky, doing his Ascendance to Worlds. I think that most people would agree that he's probably the best player on Cloud9 right now. And we're going to be looking at this series. So context for this series, because I've already watched the first 2 games. Cloud9 comes in with this unorthodox composition approach where they have a Karma support and an Amumu jungle trying to go for some sort of peel long-range snare. They would play Sneaky on Tristana for a hyper carry, and then they would try and use I to set up these wombo combos with the rest of his team. First game, Balls played Rumble. In the second game, Cloud9 takes the Lulu. First game because they banned it. And then they had Incarnation in the first game. They have him on. It wasn't Victor. Keen took Victor, which is surprising. The second game, Incarnation was on Yasuo. I know that much. Devil, what was the first game? Doesn't really matter. So these fail in part because Hai's play on Amumu is largely uninspiring, as well as Karma and Amumu just are bad
Really
picks.
weird synergies as well.
Yeah, there's weird synergies. There's not like a real goal for the compositions. It doesn't set up the carries to do what they need to do, and as well as several misplays from a lot of people. Balls in particular had a couple of missed opportunities with his rumble ults in the first game. His Lulu play was pretty subpar. He and Hai face checked stuff several times. They had a couple of Ishii plays. Sneaky made a random roam to feed a kill in the second game, which is just weird. It almost seemed like he was just desperate to make a play. So now, that was the first 2 games they lost to Gravity. So what's going to be interesting about the games following this point is how Cloud9 adapts their strategy to actually pull off the reverse sweep against Gravity. So looking at the picks so far, first change that Cloud9 makes, they say, okay, fuck playing Karma. We're going to grab Braum. So they're learning their fucking lesson there. So they grab balls. They don't grab balls. They grab Braum for elimination, and then Gravity's doing the same approach as they did last time. Gravity's been playing fairly standard in this series. Once again, this is the second time that they have secured an Ashe for Altec as well as Gragas for Move. In fact, it's the third time the Move has played Gragas in this so far. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hit the play button, and let's see how the rest of the picks play out. So,
Victor's still open.
Victor is still open. Keen has been getting that. If I was Cloud9, I would probably honestly take it away from him because he already has some champion pool issues, and his Victor play has been fairly good in this series. So Hai is going to revert to a classic Shyvana. I see the reason the thing, like, I don't know why he just didn't use Shyvana to begin with. In his games, it wasn't banned against him. It would have been better than the Amumu pick, in my opinion, and it would have synergized with the Yasuo in the previous game with her ultimate knockup. And then the Incarnation is going to take Varus for himself, so they're going for this poke composition, which is actually smart, because the Braum is going to be able to offer plenty of shields for the composition. He facilitates poke comps well, and by having Braum, they're not going to be denied their poke comp with Gravity running Braum. Gravity responds. They pick up Victor for Keen once again.
Yeah, but I mean, they have Varus now, so I guess they have actually a decent pick, so they can actually fight the wave clear, at least. They won't have the mid-game power spike as high as Gravity will have, in terms of fighting, forcing fights, and sieging to rotate, but they have a good fighting potential already on in the mid game. I mean, they have Varus, Shyvana, and Braum, so they can actually do some really good dive-ins, and they have actually the perfect follow-up right now. And we are seeing Sneaky on the Varus, which is actually extremely interesting.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of ADC Varus be picked up. He's had more success in the mid lane building for just like straight poke damage, stacking up a tier. However, I think it's a nice adjustment almost. I don't know how the Victor Varus matchup is supposed to work. I don't know if it was a curveball they necessarily needed. However, the Orianna pick does synergize with the Maokai and the Shyvana incredibly well, and the Braum will be able to peel for the Varus. I mean, this Cloud9 composition, they were having issues with Hai being able to engage the fights properly because his Amumu play was incredibly subpar. So by having, like, anyone on this team can really engage. So it's quite impressive. So
Yeah.
it's a really good adaptation. The Varus pick is a bit of a surprise. I can see it almost working just as a pick that can lane against the Ashe because he does have the same auto attack range as Ashe. They both cap out about 575.
And you know what's interesting? Both have the same kind of engage and poke skills, plus the wave clear.
Yeah, no, it's they're quite similar picks actually. So, anyways, Cloud9's gonna troll around with a Varus mid Orianna ADC pick for a couple seconds before they switch it. So, but Cloud9 is changing up the engage priorities. Hai hasn't been able to do it for them. He has a way to engage right now. He's falling back on a comfort pick, and then they bring something new with Sneak Varus. They're deviating away from having him on a hyper carry and just saying, okay, you know what? Let's fight in the mid game. Let's get engages. Let's get picks and take it away because we've been trying to play passive early game. It hasn't been working. So these are all very good adaptations from the series. From Cloud9 in this series, and well, I mean, it pays off.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, they have. I'm really excited to see how this Varus ADC actually works and what kind of build he's going to take, because we have a few possibilities here. He could go anything in Essence Reaver, or he could go anything in Manamune, which both have its pros and cons. Like Manamune being a item you actually first have to stack up to be really strong, but then you have like the late game power spike. But first, do you want to have the late game power spike here? Because you actually have already two scaling picks in your team with Shyvana and Orianna. Or do you want like the Essence Reaver to have a bit more mid game ish kind of power spike, so you have actually the mana to spam the poke in the mid game and actually the damage. So this is something that I think it might be interesting and worth trying out. I think if this is something that might be relevant, we could even see it in Worlds when we talk about Ashe being a high priority pick, plus even a comeback from Zyra in the competitive play.
Possibly. I just get cancer whenever someone builds Essence Reaver on me.
My friend, I was actually trying that out on Ezreal, and it actually worked wonders.
Ezreal is the one pick I would say, hey, that's absolutely fine on. Like, that's because like then you just get constant mana regeneration, you get mana moon procs off, and cooldown reduction. Like, I think that's absolutely fine on Ezreal, or maybe Jace. So. Alright, so they're going to start. Cloud9 gets the Ingressive Invade off to watch for the lane swap, so they want to track this down. It looks like they're looking for the 2v2. Gravity did. Game.
Yeah, so actually it's interesting because they don't have the direct answer to the split push. It really matters how boss is set up. And I think they put him on the right pick. When we talk about the solo queue thing and boss like being in Diamond 2, and it's a meme by now that we are gonna have to bring it up right here, I think that boss play in general has been really lackluster in the season. And the fact that he might even be the weakest player in Cloud9, so putting him on a Maokai is actually a fair safe pick. Whatever happens, he will be useful.
Yeah,
so might this be a trend?
Can't fuck up Maokai.
Yeah, basically that.
So yeah, but I mean he's gonna be a real hindrance going into Worlds. Either way.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we do get Sneaky goes top side, gets the solo lane to himself. Cloud9 likes to do this with Sneaky, leave him alone in that top side lane. So he gets the solo experience, gets a solo farm. They've done this in the previous game as well. So this giving they really do put a lot of tools into try and set him to carry. Now he's actually going to do a fast push into the tower just to bounce the wave off and to reset a freeze, deny the Gravity Sum experience. Hanser hasn't showed up to lane yet. There's Hanser keeping the top side.
And Buggy.
Yeah, I think he got pinned against the wall by a minion or something. Alright, so, and now look at this. So, in the previous game, Gravity had complete domination over the bottom side of the map, over Dragon side, with their vision control. You look at Cloud9's ward setup now, they're setting up the vision there. So they're already showing an earlier priority on making sure that's protected. Anyway, so here's Elimination coming in for a gank. You don't get the stun off, but so far, these lane stop situations free up Elimination to actually have some impact now that he's on Braum. The issue with trying to do this with Karma is that she doesn't really have any instant. You can throw her Q over the slow and then she can throw her W down, but you can simply flash out of that. She doesn't roam well, especially in comparison to other supports that do have harder hitting CC.
Yeah.
Yes, Braum doesn't have instant CC, but his slow was powerful and set up his allies for the stun. Now, as they're looking to actually try and 3-man Keen right here. Incarnation has been laning fairly well against Keen. His Yasuo's laning phase against Keen's Victor was pretty good. He was pretty much keeping up with him in farm, even enforcing him back in lane a few times and forcing him to use summoners without using anything really. So we'll be interested to see how well he does with the Orianna pickups.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, how shall Sinai play this early phase out? I mean, if someone can do some play, is Gravity, because they have the Gragas, so in the Alistar, so they might go for any kind of early mid ganks and until 10 minutes in the game. And how can Hai make sure that Incarnation can safely farm? Because at the moment he has to flash, his lane will be done basically, because at the moment you won't be able to go aggressive and maybe try to trade or get some pressure in the mid lane, because the gank potential and pressure from Gravity will be way too high. So it will depend a lot on how much ward pressure Cloud9 can create around the mid lane, and if Elimination actually gets some kind of niche gank off to actually take the flash out of Keen.
Well, let's see. So Sneaky this is the second time he's pushing the little tower with the wave to get it to bounce. So Balls is going to have a similar thing done to him in the bottom side, but Hai is actually going to rotate. Looks like Cloud9's going for an early tower. Sneaky's frozen the lane long enough. Shyvana actually does a lot of damage to towers just with her Q. But Move and Hans are going to be able to hold that off. While Bunny Fufu is also being rotated around. Gravity likes to have Bunny Fufu roam. Either Ghost support Hanser, leave Altec alone in the 1v1, kind of like how Sneaky has a setup for him, or go look to roam, gank, and make plays. So, so we're actually seeing, okay, Elimination's going to go for a deep ward here. Get mechanics, boys, mechanics.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot more ward emphasis coming out from Cloud9, it seems like. It's good to see Elimination roaming like this. It's good to see him getting the wards down. I just needs to be able to contribute as well to that process. Everyone stays alive. Gravity, though, is once again prioritizing bottom side vision control. They got a deep pink ward. Bunny Fufu has already moved in and plays 2 green wards. So they're making sure that all tech is safe to farm in that 1v1 lane, as well as establishing dragon control. How it is.
Oh.
And the Incarnation is...
Ouch.
So keep in mind, Incarnation basically out-dueled Keen right there with no summoners used, while Keen was forced to use heal.
You know what's interesting? How can Orianna be winning this lane right now? How?
Not really sure. Not really sure.
This shouldn't be happening
Keen
until Orianna should be getting pushed in until she hits 2 items. Because then she will have the mana and the damage to proper wave clear against the Victor. Otherwise, she should
I think she has enough wave clear, like, in her base kit.
Not enough. Not enough.
If you look at it, no. If you look at the kit, though, or what Incarnation has built up on her so far, he does have a Palace on him, so he is going for that early mana regeneration. Keen is also... Like, his Victor play, I'd say, has been acceptable. It hasn't really been phenomenal. He does this thing he's done in the past 2 games where he, like, basically rushes the Hex Core upgrades. Like, that's, like, the first big item he completes, which I don't really agree with. I think you can just get more utility out of it.
This is 515, right? So it's actually already nerfed. No, is this 515 or 516? No, this is 515. No, it was only nerfed on 516, right? Ooh.
Yeah, it was only nerfed on 516. Hold on. Pause.
What's up?
I'm just gonna look to get the right answer. If I remember right, they're playing on 5. They might be playing on 514.
No. All of these games were at least played on 515, because we played on 515, and every kind of major event was played on 515, except I think for Asia that already adapted to 516. So if we didn't see any kind of Skyrim bans, it's still 515.
Okay, so it just doesn't freaking tell me what happened to his item. Alright. Good. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to find his item now. That's silly. It doesn't include Victor's special item in his patch notes on...
Because...
5.16 it was reduced.
Yeah, okay.
5.16 the hex core was nerfed.
So it's still worth the building them, and that's aligning this
I
priority.
don't see. Well, I mean, like he rushed it very quickly. I see people stop at 1, maybe 2. They don't. I haven't seen it maxed out until Keen's played it. Then what was ring promotion? Oh Jesus, for 15. Regional finals played. All matches are best of 5. Tell me the patch, you bastards.
Really?
Tell me the patch, you bastards. Tell me the patch, you bastards. Holy fucking
Guys,
shit.
Mangaka is tilting on not finding out which patch this is.
Will not deny me. Will have my god. Come on, Reddit discussion. Come on, Reddit discussion. Tell me your secrets. Tell me your goddamn secrets. Son of a bitch monkey.
Just
Whatever.
let's move on.
In the stream, it should pop up in the bottom left corner or some shit about what fucking patch it is. Okay, so getting back into it, Altec did force Sneaky's flash. There's actually also note the first time that Sneaky hasn't taken cleanse in the Ashe matchup.
Well, and I think that goes for the Ashe. I mean, it was actually effective, and I mean the early game damage from Ashe is still overwhelming against the Varus, and I think the Varus needs way more mana for that. Or what do you think? How should this bot lane play out? I mean, like the fact that we have the Braum on the Cloud9 side, it might be a lot better for Cloud9 because you actually can stop a lot of the poke and zone a lot better. Colin, you there?
I'm here. Listening, you made a good point. Okay. Eyes visiting top side. Haunter's actually really low. But Haunter gets away.
Okay. Let's see.
And then duel number 2, Incarnation. Very, very, very flashy plays. Pun intended.
Why you do this? All the time. Do you want me to take you seriously, bro? Because you meme so hard, man. And this is the reason why I think the bot lane is actually great. Varus Braum, and could win against the lane like really well. Because this chain CC is extremely amazing.
Yeah,
but what is Balls doing
really
actually?
Good. He's dying after teleporting in to be helping. Thought he was playing Jarvan. Anyways, but then Haunter shows Balls how to really TP. And
oh man, Colin, why are you so good at this? Like it's amazing. It's amazing. Sneaky's Varus play is actually really good.
Yeah, no,
I might even think that's actually a legit pick. Like,
well,
maybe it's hitting Sleeper OP or something like that.
Nah, I wouldn't say super OP. Yeah, I mean, it was a good adaptation. It might be a good pick into the Ashe.
Yeah, okay, that's true. I mean, it could still, like, he would have a lot of problems against Vayne and Tristana, I guess.
So anyway, so Bunny Fufu isn't level 6 yet, so that means he's actually vulnerable to getting this chunked in the lane. And then Altec was running low on mana as well. And then Balls just overdives right here, and
he's also so extremely squishy right now.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have a whole lot. Haunter teleported right around here, so this caused Sneaky to back off. And when did that actually happen? Go back. horrible. Either way, Haunter's teleport cuts off Sneaky advancing, otherwise he's just gonna advance to death. Move, another great Gragas ultimate to push Elimination back. So Haunter misses the stun, and then he eats him. Gravity does pick up a first dragon as well, though, off of that.
We love you too. So let's see. Okay, we are winning on gold for Cloud9 because of a turret, but Gravity has a Drake who has a better scaling. Definitely Cloud9, so it's actually going well for Cloud9. How's the farm doing? It's fairly even, and holy shit, is Boss winning hard.
Yeah, but I mean,
he's building so bad.
Well, it's actually not too bad. I know he's not rushing. He might. I'm thinking he's gonna take that catalyst into a righteous glory. But I mean, this build path, if he sets it off with an armor, with a magic resist item, not armor item, sets it off there. Okay, so then
elimination for MVP. No, you know, my problem with that is simply that he now is like, you know, I can decide if I'm gonna play the Maokai play, like I'm gonna TP and do something helpful for my team, or I'm going to lane against the Gnar and split push. Like, with having a little bit of both, he's okay at both, but not great at one thing. So, he will not snowball hard enough, as he could, first of all. Second, you don't have anything so that you can extremely well split push. Like, Gnar could outplay you with the build he has right now. And we're gonna see the bot lane fight, what was actually... We know not only the clans, but what also happened. Elimination missed the Q, and then didn't block the stun from Ashe.
Well,
plus the flash was actually kind of nice from Altec, but it was 2 mistakes from Elimination actually there.
Yep. Then Sneaky's gone for the Essence Reaver, which means he's not going to get any crits in the fight. So good luck. But either way, Sneaky comes back. They're actually going to get some damage onto this tower. Balls has completed the Righteous Glory now, so he's got the Glacial Shroud, so he's on his way to being able to push against the Gnar. The double kill doing well for him. Gravity, once again, has priority vision on the bomb site. However, Cloud9 actually has a bit of ward presence on the map. This is something that was absent in like all their previous games, so very nice. Ironically, their vision is improved when Hai is playing a jungler who he isn't building the second Sightstone on. Sightstone second on, excuse me.
Yeah.
I find that amusing.
That's 0-2 for Cloud9. Like, I mean, reverse sweep was actually caught right there. And I think it's amusing how Keen sits in his chair like L from Death Note. Just noticed this like right now because I don't see too much Gravity games. And it's actually amusing. Amusing. And I just want to give this note right here because it's Essence Reaver, my friend. Oh, got it.
Now, if it was Shinigami Reaver, I think you'd have a point. First off, it's not red, so you can't equate it to apples, that which the Shinigami in that world eat. I only read the first fucking chapter of it. Second off, I don't know.
Dude, you can't meme me. You know that. You try so hard, but you can't.
And here comes the pokes. Much mana does Sneaky actually gain back from that freaking Essence Reaver? Doesn't look like a whole lot. Damn. Okay, so this is where Balls is like getting like outplayed by Haunter, who's levels down from him. Pretty hilarious. Oh shoot.
Like
anyway, Cloud9 actually has a really good ring of vision in the mid lane. This is the strongest vision that they've ever had throughout the entire series. So they're pulling that back together. Incarnation is doing well on the Orianna. I mean, he's outlaned the Victor, and Keen has straight on rushed up the entirety of It is Hexcore again, which I just don't agree with. I think you can just go get a death cap after getting like maybe the first or second upgrade.
What about the mana upgrade and simply go on Ludens so you can actually abuse the hard gauge and split push and siege you actually have in your team comp?
Right? Yeah. Kane's build path has just been absolute shit with the Victor.
Like, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to find a solid reason, but he's actually losing more than actually gaining from that. Because you could.
You want a solid reason? King doesn't know how to play meta champions.
My friend, that's the thing I'm trying to say all the time, because that's what I actually see all the time.
That's what everyone's known.
I mean, we had a lot of discussions about he dealing the least damage of NA mid laners, but also every NA mid laner dealt a lot less damage against him in previous games. But what was his most played pick? Right, Urgot. So we have why everyone's dealing a lot less damage against him. And that's a fair point. And then he brings out the Victor and is doing something different than anyone else, and it's somehow not working in my opinion.
Yeah.
I am not seeing he being like the powerhouse of every Victor in every game otherwise has been so far, because he's not doing like the thing a Victor should do, and it's just spam the wave clear and then apply pressure, get something else done, because you're actually the guy that will be pushing, so your team can play the map game. And with the build he doesn't he's playing right now, he might have some damage, but he doesn't have the wave clear proper setup that he would have with any kind of mana item, or simply Ludens to clear even faster and better the waves. So the thing that he has right now is like some weird kind of build that I'm trying to understand, but I don't find a reason why he should build that hex core item right now.
There isn't really. So yeah, while you had that discussion, Cloud9 is taking the dragon. That's like the first time that they've been like set up on the dragon before Gravity has in pretty much this whole series. Well as an uncontested one, which bodes well for them. Move is going for Moves Gragas, dude. Moves Gragas is just something of beauty.
Ooh, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Moves Gragas is a very good pick. Monsters are Moves Gragas. Those are some really excellent.
I'm not impressed by Answer's play right here, to be honest.
It's doing okay.
Like his TPs were good, sure. But
yeah, no.
but you know,
you should have seen him in the game before. I mean, he had fight winning ultimate. Like if he didn't land those, they would have lost.
I have to bring up a point that Ryan made last few days on Twitter, that Answer is so underrated, because he is doing actually a lot with a lot less resources than maybe a lot of other players. And to be honest, like, his team is feeding so many resources in a mid laner that's not doing anything.
Yeah, no, they don't understand how good of a top laner they have.
And like the problem right now is simply that with this item build, this Victor is actually losing to the Orianna.
Yeah.
Which is actually interesting, because this shouldn't be happening, like we already touched on, until Orianna has 2 items. So she has like completely the wave clear needed. And again, like the build of Sneaky is extremely interesting. My friends,
Yeah.
what's your take on this?
Essence Reaver into Yomu's Ghost Blade. I mean, there's not really much of a standard for the Varus bot lane pickup. Sneaky is currently prioritizing cooldown reduction and armor penetration. He's playing.
You know, he's playing support AD carry.
In a way, he's playing a poke utility AD carry.
You know what? He's
like,
playing wave clear.
Yeah, basically. I mean, he's basically playing Varus in the way that Varus has succeeded, which is emphasizing his poke rather than trying to build up his auto attacks. I think he's just prioritizing different build items, because to lane against the Ashe, he couldn't like go for a tier.
You know what?
I
I think the reason Humus is fairly cheap.
Yeah, Yomu's is cheap. Essence Reaver is a little expensive, I think, now.
And since they have like a jungler that takes a lot of resources as well, he's maybe adapting to this simply of getting a lower and cheaper build, but also having like the same utility he wants with the champion. So I think this is like simply a smart resource allocation and smart building routes just to adapt to the playstyle they are playing in this game. Because Hai is taking a lot of farm because he's playing Dever Shavana with a Bork. So he has actually a lot of money invested in him to carry the team. Yeah, see you then, Panda. Or do you think like this is simply because he is losing 30 CS and he still wants to fight and trade against that Ashe? Or do you agree with my reasoning for the build?
No, I think that you got a very good point there. I mean, you look at the difference discrepancy in farm between the Shyvana and the Gragas, and I mean, gold fucking shit. I also think that, oh jeez.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like, Sneaky doesn't really need to be building a lot of DPS. He needs to be getting poke down, harassing the enemy so that I can just do that. That's really, I think, what it comes down to. I think you were spot on with that point.
You know what I still think is interesting? That Hai is getting away with it.
NA is shit.
Yeah, we didn't touch on the fact that actually Gravity should be winning this game by now. Like, they should be ahead at this point.
Yeah,
Because they have a very good...
down 5k gold.
Because they have actually a very good mid-game composition. With the Victor and the Gnar. Plus the hard engage and followed by the Gragas.
Yep.
So they actually should be not only winning in dragons, but also in turrets and in kills. But they are not winning in kills, they're not winning in dragons, and they're not winning in turrets. Plus, they are even or losing farm. If you compare the stats. So basically they are not winning in any kind of sense in this game. Not even in scaling parts. So basically, they lost already the game if you see the stats. Because they should be ahead with this 4K, not losing with this 4K. Which is fairly interesting. And they are not really... I don't feel like they understood how to play their comp. Because, like we already talked about, they're not building correctly, they're not resource allocating correctly, nor forcing the fights they could. And now it's starting to get too late because Hai is actually very strong right now. And if you try to 1v1 him, you're gonna get wrecked. If you try to 5v5 Cloud9, you're gonna get wrecked. The only thing that Gravity could have done is going for pick off, siege gang in the first 10 to 15 minutes and snowball out of this. Because right now, anything they do against Cloud9, they have a counterplay to it. They have a tool to counterplay it. Because we hit the spike we wanted with Incarnation for free.
And well, if you look at it as well, I mean, I think some criticism on move has to be placed. He didn't really get any ganks off in the early game while Hai was farming the jungle.
Yeah, basically that.
Yeah, there's just like no plays coming out of them. There was like a trade in bot lane. It's basically been sent around bot lane. And then there was that scrap up top where real shit show. But like no, and I agree with that point. Gravity played this exact same composition in the previous game, but you know, they really kind of struggled to control the objectives with it.
And it's interesting.
I mean, Cloud9 was able to do several Baron dances around it, and then Gravity.
Look at this. Why aren't they hard engaging on Sneaky or Incarnation? And why is Hunter in such a bad position? So many questions. And what the
There's
fuck?
A really good counter engage.
It was also poor positioning and follow up by Cloud9. Why is Domination going aggressive? Like the only person that should go aggressive in this team would be Hai and Balls, and everyone else should be around Sneaky, like Incarnation and Lamination.
Yeah.
And
bye bye Lemon.
That was a very bad fight from both teams, actually.
Oh yeah.
But Cloud9 did the bigger mistake. Oh man, that's actually sad.
Right, yeah, they lost that fight with like a 4k gold lead, and now Gravity is going to pick up a dragon in the mid tower.
No, they aren't picking up the dragon. for
should.
whatever
I'll take-
reason.
Yeah, Altec can go fucking solo that shit.
Like they didn't get any wards, they didn't get any a Drake, they only got a turret.
Yeah, that's
And they
such
could
a
have
poor
gotten
finish.
wards, turret,
Alright, so
and
Ball
Drake.
goes in on the Hanser for some reason. Everybody tunnels in on the Hanser so then he can get this air elimination positions towards Balls and Shiv rather than sneaky and occasion to peel for them. Balls finally retreats back. Keen actually has a really good flash chase to wrap up Incarnation here. Yeah, no, it's a shit. It really is. And I mean, like, look at all these wards that Cloud9 had. Cloud9 has been having the vision control in this game. Gravity is losing the vision game. I think Cloud9 has been playing it a lot better. Game. And again, I doesn't have a fucking Sightstone. He had Sightstone on Amumu, and Cloud9's vision wasn't this fucking good. So, anyway, so, yeah. So, Cloud9 takes a second dragon when they should have not have had that second. Without Gravity. Building up towards Circuit Greaves, and he's going to get Last Whisper soon. Altec has hit a 3-item power spike. That's actually really huge. It looks like Keen is going to go for Luden's Echo after Abaddon's. I think he should go for Void Staff. Well, he doesn't need it right now. The only one with RMR is the Oriana, and then they have an Aegis on the Braum, which isn't a whole lot of magic resist. Maokai doesn't have any armor or magic resist yet, excuse me. Merc Dreads.
Yeah.
And then Balls is actually, he's built a Thordmail 3rd. Not so sure about that one. You only have the Righteous Glory for the health right now. I think you can get the Thordmail, but I would prefer to see like a Banshee's Veil or Spirit Visage before that. Definitely a Banshee's.
No, I think that I need to disagree here because I think for what he needs to do in this game, the Tormail is the right thing. Because where is the damage coming from? From the Gnar and the Ash. Because Keen's build is now starting to get damage, right? So the thing about it, he needs to still split push. And who will he split pushing against? Right, the Gnar. Gnar has Black Cleaver, so he needs a lot of tools to fight him. So I think the choice of doing that, and while Gravity only has a 1 AP damage threat, which is now starting on to do really damage because of the item choice he made, it's actually fair to build the Tormail right here. But yeah, the life points are a reason why he should maybe go for a life too, but I think the Tormail is the right choice here.
Well, I think at this point in the game, it's actually going to be more about high split pushing against Hanser because he's got Devourer sated. So I don't think you need the Maokai to split push against it. I think that you can just have high do it. And I mean, so we talked about that throughout that whole fight basically. So Cloud9 played that fairly well. Balls and Incarnation like got right on top of Keen and they just avoid him. Then Incarnation just fucking obliterates.
I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna kill you, even without seeing where you are right now.
Yeah. Well, the ball gave him vision, and I think was there a ward? No, it wasn't a ward.
No. He was like
He was just zoning with the ball.
He was in the brush, so he didn't have exact vision.
The camera panned because they thought that Altec had stolen the Baron when he just killed Lemon Nation. And Sneaky's actually not going for Last Whisper. He's picked up a BF sword, so I guess he's going IE next.
So, what do you actually want to go now as the Varus? Are you going for Last Whisper to even have more pen, or are you going to BT to have more sustain and damage?
I don't think you want to do Essence Reaver Bloodthirster. That just sounds like cancer. Gnar hasn't built up any armor items yet, so he doesn't need the Last Whisper right now. Especially since he's trying to prioritize, especially since Sneaky's just trying to poke down Altec. He doesn't need the Last Whisper for these fights yet. Hyde has enough tank shredding damage, Incarnation has enough damage. So he's going, I mean, he has Pickaxe BT. Not BT, Bloodthirster. BF sword.
He will be going for the Inf Edge, which I think is interesting because he will need to deal a lot of auto attacks. So that's why I said Bloodthirster, because if you just want to go for raw attack damage, I think the BT is far more worth to go for the Infinity Edge in this point, because if you are not doing like a lot of auto attacks, you get more damage on your and more sustain even, which would be worth, because you would like heal a lot if you are only playing the poke game. What also could be a possibility is going for a QSS right here and build a scimitar, which would actually be, in my opinion, the best choice.
It would, but he would have picked up the Silver Sash before the...
Yeah. But he's I think he's simply going for that to have like the auto attack damage still, and since he has like crit with the Yumos, I think it's still fine overall. So
there's some synergy as far as the crit chance goes with the Yoma's Ghostblade.
But in my optimal build, it would be like the QSS right here.
Yeah, that way I'll can engage on you. Anyway, so Cloud9 gets Baron, and then they're actually... Here you go. Shyvana's doing the split pushing. Incredibly strong. She has 200 farm on a jungler. She's 30 CS behind. She's 30 CS behind Monster on top lane.
Yeah.
And then there's just no stopping her. He actually, Hai is the one who bought the QSS, by the way, just so he could keep on chasing. That's rather funny. He's like, yo, Sneaky, I got you, man. That's not how this works. I got you.
I got your items for me. Don't worry. I buy your items if you just play the game and carry me, right?
If I take the ash arrow for you, I can cleanse it. You don't need to. That's the logic. Yo, Dragon's Descent.
I'm your lifesaver, bro. I'm your lifesaver.
Anyways, Cloud9 is actually... Okay, so here you go. Cloud9 is closing out the game incredibly fast. Gravity has had issues closing out their games, and Cloud9 ends this game fairly quickly. They know how to punish really well.
I think like it's really interesting because the wide control from Cloud9 was actually fairly well, and how they play their strategies out is actually remarkable still. But their team fighting, oh my gosh. And their individual play, at least on the support role and top lane role, is actually underwhelming right now. I am actually scared to see them play in Worlds right now, because I wasn't impressed at all by Boss or Lamination's performance this game. Like, it was Gravity letting Hai get through. Sneaky and Incarnation doing a fairly good job.
Oh yeah, no, Incarnation had some like killer ults. Like to be fair, Balls did the right thing and got on top of Keen, so Incarnation could just like delete him with the shockwave.
Yeah, so, that's true.
Balls deserves that much credit.
Yeah, but it's a strategic point, right? So, and I guess it's like worth mentioning that we actually saw Oriana win a lane against a Victor right here, which is remarkable.
Yeah, right.
It's amazing. Things. Like it's the only time we're gonna see this actually, because in Worlds this won't happen. Anybody who gets a Victor there will actually crush on that. Maybe not Western, because he won't play it.
Well, there's also this was pre-Hex Core nerf Victor, and those Hex Core, I don't know how much those actually impact him. If I remember correctly, he was still using the LPL. I don't know how they adapted their builds. So that's going to be something I consider when I look at the LPL video VODs, because I'm going to be kind of writing a piece on what changes we can expect to see at Worlds based on the LPL game. So, anyways, that was Game 3.
Yeah, that was Game 3.
Versus Gravity. So, Cloud9 that game, they adjusted their strategy, shying away from a hyper game late carry ADC comp with more of a mid game ADC, just forcing the fights. They put the farm pressure onto Hai instead of having him play the engagement. Everybody had tools to engage, so that way there was multiple layers of approach coming from Cloud9 in order to get onto Gravity. And, I mean, we saw it here. They actually had a really fairly substantial lead, aside from a few hiccups. Once they got Baron, they closed the game out incredibly fast, something that Gravity was not able to do despite having their own leads.
Yeah, that's true.
So, that's true. A little bit of a de-emphasis on Sneaky that game as far as pressure for damage come to later stages of the game, but he served his own important tools for the mid-game when it came to dealing out the damage to set the rest of his team up. Plays. And in Incarnation, he played really well that game. Well, granted, his opponent's Victor play is questionable.
Couldn't agree more with you there, because that's how I see the game. It's a mix of Gravity just not knowing how to play the game, and simply 3 guys playing remarkably well and better than everyone in this game in their respective roles. Because I think Move could play better, didn't do what he should have done in the early game. So yeah, I think we came to a point where we can agree that Cloud9 were simply better than Gravity in some positions mechanically and simply strategically a lot better the whole game.
Yeah, in that one.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like I think they had something and they didn't execute it properly in the first 2 games. But I didn't watch the games because I didn't have the time, and I was focusing on others.
They were well, they had a garbage plan, which is then executed like garbage. That's Cloud9's first 2 games summed up. Then they actually said, okay, let's do what we've actually done that gets us wins. And then lo and behold, it worked.
I mean, they tried to cheese the Cheese Master team, so I guess we have to answer why it didn't work out.
Easy, they don't know how to make cheese.
You know, like you tried to cheese Gravity. You didn't say that, right? Please tell me I didn't hear that. Oh god. Guys, this is Colin right there. Alright guys, I'm gonna close out the stream because I'm actually fairly tired. And if you still want to watch some action in English, some VOD analysis, I will stop but this guy won't. So move over to his stream and show him some love, because he's not only a good friend, a good analyst, but also a cool guy that is going full time in esports now. So every little support you give to him, he will give it back to you. So make it worth the investment and show him some love. Guys, okay, I'm gonna be off here on TeamSpeak so I can close out the stream, my friends. So have fun streaming, because I have work to do now as well.
Yep.
And I'm gonna spend like 5 more minutes with my friends. Alright. Talk to you later, my friends.
Sounds good. I'll just be doing my thing over on the stream.
Alright, see you then.
Sound muted.
Okay. Okay, gente, guys, I think it's fair to say that you are the best, and the best, and the best. So, hop over to Mangaka Street, because I'm going off. So thanks for everyone that tuned in today for my 3 streams. And yeah, sorry for the internet issues. I don't have a clue what happened. And I hope it doesn't happen again. But I can promise, because I can't control how the internet works. So my friends, we see us the next time. Don't forget to follow me on social media so you never miss out a stream. And of course, if you miss anything, check out my YouTube. I'm gonna post the VODs slowly. So you have every day your League of Legends action by me. So guys, talk to you later. We see us the next time. Bye bye.